Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest is Flowing River, Derren. How do you pronounce your surname, love?
It's Derren Ohanian is the birth name, but I go by Flowing River.
Flowing River, okay. So he's had quite a transition in his life. He followed a traditional route of having to have results, and all that matters is results, and never follow the pack, which his father told him to do. And at the age of 20, he went down that traditional route. Instead of going to college, he became an entrepreneur. He worked really, really hard, but soon found it wasn't working for him at the computer all day long. He found that his body was suffering, so he turned to alcohol and turned to the cannabis as well, and realized that it wasn't working for him either. So he found himself in Costa Rica, and then he started his journey into becoming Flowing River, and we're going to discover all about that today, and the traveling that he's done and where he is today. But he says Derren is here to help people align their body, mind, and spirit to their highest potential, so they may remember their life's true purpose. We empower each other with individuals with tools that help them walk that path of self-mastery, sovereignty, and freedom. And following the pack, I know it's never a good idea to follow a pack. We've all got a beautiful individual part. We could be part of an orchestra, but we've got to be that individual instrument. So you took the traditional way, you had your little cosmic 2x4 that redirected you, and now you're on a path of true enlightenment and enlightening others along the way, which is the path that we really want everybody to find for themselves, isn't it? Welcome to the show, love.
Thank you so much. So grateful to be on the show, Sarah, and really excited. And absolutely, that's really the purpose to walk this earth's surface, is to express our heart's purest intentions. And when I found what my heart was really speaking through me, it was, how can I be of service?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can I serve the rest of humanity in awakening to this truth of this feeling that is coming through the center of my chest?
Yeah.
Just wanting to share it with everyone, So absolutely.
Meaningful purpose is service to one another. And a lot of people kind of get mixed up between service and servitude. And, we don't want people to become servants. We want them to be of free will, to be of service to one another. But you really need to know what your instrument is in that service. What are you bringing? And so the self-discovery of who we are and what our instrument is something that we need to do first. A lot of people step into the service, but what are you serving if you don't know who you are and what you have?
Yes, absolutely. I love the analogy that you made, the metaphor of the orchestra, and finding your note in the music of life. How can we weave this together in perfect harmony and make beautiful music together, right?
Yes.
And for me, what you're alluding to is the gift. What is your divine gift that you've been perhaps suppressing, through going after, I have to make a lot of money, so I can't be creative, or, I have to pay the bills, so I can't do that one thing I really want to do and have been really wanting to do for ever and ever. Yeah. But we keep putting it off. When are we going to do it? Oh, we're going to do it when we have $1 million in the bank. And well, guess what? You're going to be like 80 years old by then. And you're not going to be able to get out of your bed. So
yeah. And $1 million means nothing by that time either.
Yeah, exactly. Due to inflation. So
yes.
you just got caught in the game,
Yeah.
It's like, this is why it's so critical to understand, like, now the present moment is the only moment. This moment lasts forever. So like, make it happen right now. Like, and some people might say, oh, well, Flowing River, you telling me to jump off of a cliff with no parachute? Well, that's one way to do it. There's infinite ways. You could also gradually, start shifting your time and priorities into understanding who you truly are and what it is that you're being called to bring forth into the earth. Because as you know, everyone has their own special, unique flavor that just adds to the juiciness of life. So
Yes.
we don't want you on the sidelines, you know, we want you in the middle of the stew, like cooking it up. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, take a buffet, a smoker's board. If it was all the same food, it'd be rather boring. But what makes it so enticing is the fact that there are so many different choices. And, we're a part of that smoker's board. We're bringing our flavor to the table. And it may not be somebody else's flavor, but that's okay. Because if you look to trying to please everybody, you're going to let yourself and everyone else down. But if you just step into your own light and be that light, you will shine bright to show others the way. Really, who we're responsible for is ourselves, isn't it? Not anybody else's opinion of us.
absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I kind of want to go back to Costa Rica, that moment when I was at Finca Morpho, because that is when I truly started to step into that gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not written poetry for 11 years. You know, this is how far I had gotten away
Yeah.
from my heart. And when I was 17, I was writing poetry about, you know, the normal things, breaking up with my girlfriend, problem with my parents. Then I didn't write for 11 years because I went after the 9 to 5 and just got really stuck in the rat race, you know. But in Costa Rica, I was able to rekindle the spark, connecting with the land, connecting with community, and allowing myself to not only receive love, but give love without being taken advantage of, which was very important for me. And I started receiving poetry. I didn't know it at the time. I thought I was writing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm writing poetry and I'm realizing this poetry is teaching me things.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming a mantra as I'm saying it. It's reprogramming my subconscious mind and realigning me to new frequencies, to manifest synchronicities in my life that lead me to people, places, and things that explain what the poem was actually about 3 to 6 months later.
Yeah.
And I realized it was my higher self
Mm-hmm.
dropping breadcrumbs
Mm-hmm.
for me to continually expand my heart and illuminate my mind, which was, that's an incredible way to
Yeah.
step into your gift. I don't, you know, everyone will have their own unique story, but it took me trusting
Yeah.
to open myself to, you know, receive these things and to say that, um, to record them, because I could have just had them as thoughts. Oh, thoughts coming, and I don't write them down. I
Yeah.
don't repeat them.
You're
You
right.
know, how many times that people will receive a message or guidance or a sign or an intuitive hit from their heart or their stomach, but they'll just ignore it.
Just dismiss it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dismiss it. But really, what you're dismissing is you're dismissing yourself.
Your wisdom. Your wisdom.
Yes,
Yes.
it's coming to you. So you know, in finding our gifts, it's also what I remember from the experience is it's also learning how to listen, because
Mm-hmm.
as we listen more intently, then we can allow that wisdom to come through and allow us to step into our higher self. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, we have to trust, because our mind says from a
Yes.
past experience, go right, but the
Yes.
intuition is saying go left.
Yes. Or,
so,
or the butt, or the butt, say sit on the butt. That's the only butt you should have, right? Yeah. It's for me, from my knowledge, through the years of my teachings, is the knowingness, and the knowingness is that gut instinct. Why do you know? I don't know. I just know. I call that the divine knowingness, the divine wisdom. It resonates with your heart and truth. It goes to your spirit into action, and your mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. This is knowledge up here in our noggin, right? This is all accumulated programming and knowledge that we've accumulated. And it could be pretty useless if we don't have the wisdom to know how to use it. And if we're stuck in our heads all the time, this is where we get lost. We're not asking for the soul, heart, and spirit's intellect to be a part of the equation. And this is why we always feel so disconnected. But when we can listen to our soul, our higher self, our spirit speak to us, it ignites that heart in truth. And it is what it is then. It's divine truth. It's your divine truth. to do with what you are meant to do with. And it comes from that very core of you. But we have to get out of the head and feel the wisdom in order to understand what's being told to us and how to use it.
Yes, and I think a very important part that you just mentioned in one word is feel. You know,
Yes.
because the body for me is a hard drive. It remembers
Yes.
everything. It's and when we feel that joy, when we feel that bliss, when we feel that empowerment of standing in our divine truth and expressing it, it reprograms our entire cellular structure into something that our mind didn't believe was possible
Yeah.
just even 10 seconds before.
Right.
So feeling. But the issue with society these days is that we're always running away from our
Mm-hmm.
pain. We're running away from our trauma. Why? Because we don't want to feel it. Because when we felt it, it hurt.
Yes.
So we run away because we want to protect ourselves. And we protect ourselves by drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana every day, taking prescription drugs, or getting so busy with our work that, we don't have time to deal with our pain. But as you know, that doesn't heal anything. That just
Yeah.
puts it underneath the rug. And so what happens with the pain that you used to feel, it turns into an ice block. It becomes numb, but it's still there in your body. You just think you've healed it, but you actually didn't do anything. You just dug it deeper in a deeper hole for yourself.
More
So
work to release it now, right? Because it's gone so cellular.
yeah, absolutely. And it's deep work to get the
Yeah.
excavator and go back in there
Yeah.
later. I'm speaking from experience here, things that
Mm-hmm.
I've held for 20 years, and it's a lot to uproot a core belief of being I'm unworthy. If
Right.
that happened when you're in middle school or
Mm-hmm.
elementary school. And so, but it can be done, and everyone has the ability to heal themselves and reveal themselves, because it's feel to heal to reveal.
Mm-hmm.
What are you revealing? You're revealing your true self, your divine gifts. So this path of self-discovery, I just keep encourage everyone, just keep going.
Yeah, and it's not other people like you're going to share your skills, you're going to share the tools, but how we use those tools is our own individuality, right? You can share the wisdom, the expertise that got you where you are, and people can put it in their backpack and they can travel forward and use it when they need to. But they've got to understand, no matter who's there to help you along the way, they're not there to carry your burden. They're there to
Mm.
help you release your own burden, because you want to walk forward lighter with the wisdom in your backpack, with the knowledge that should you meet this again, you know what to do when you face it. But I think people are just willing to abstain from going through the process because they feel the process is so much more painful. Think about it. Does your body hurt? Are you feeling discontent? Are you dis-ease in your body and mind, heart, and soul? Because you just don't feel you belong. You are already in pain. And it is so much easier to go through the process and release than it is to stay there and become crippled by it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, as soon as you get, because the only way out is through.
Yes.
You can't run away from your pain. Your
Nope.
pain, it's going to come catch up with you
Oh, yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
That pattern will come back and repeat itself. So the only opportunity is to go through, crying and wailing your arms, or you can go through with joy
Yes.
and a heart filled with gratitude for this beautiful lesson that's actually a blessing in your life, because now you get to release that trauma and it doesn't come back. In fact, you feel lighter and brighter, and it's like, but of course, the first 50%, going up the mountain
Mm-hmm.
is,
Grueling.
yes, grueling. But once you get over the hump, it
Yeah.
starts getting easier,
Mm-hmm.
So just know that, just keep going.
Yes.
So
Everybody that I've interviewed, that I've worked with through the years, that has been willing to go through that process, climb that mountain, they have all said that they would do it again because who they are now and what they're doing in their meaningful purpose is everything that they never knew they could be. And if they hadn't had the experience, of what happened to them, what set them on that journey of recovery, of process, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing today, which is so meaningful and of service to everyone else. So yes, it's grueling at first. It's hard carrying that heavy backpack of pain up the hill, but then you say, I don't need this anymore. I can let this out of bag, and I can leave this behind. And by the time you get to the top of the mountain, you feel free. You're right. I'm not carrying the burdens anymore. I'm not carrying the trauma anymore. You can look at it, you can talk about it, but you no longer feel the pain associated with it.
I would love to share a poem
Please.
on this, and let me just pull it up. There was two poems I wanted to share, but now that you just brought up the baggage, let's talk about that. So this poem is called Pain Pill, and it's about that pain that we're carrying around. And it's number 42 out of 144 on the path of awakening to unconditional love. So why are we carrying out those bags, right? People are so addicted to pain, addicted to the baggage they carry around their names, dragging ball and chain. If only they looked at the picture through a different frame, a different perspective, they would inspect and dissect to see that they select each scene, projected dreams, prismatic beams from the mind's eye. Instead, they cry, hands held out, screaming, why? Why me? A victim of my own reality. Ugh. The fucking agony, the death, decay, dismay, the dire straits of hell's gates, flames that lick fingertips burning in my yearning, in the ashes of my own demise, shaking fists cursing the sky. Or is that hot, hot heat, the warm glow of the sunrise, a new day to break away as the blue jays, over mountains and waterways, for what we say is what we pray. So watch what you say. As I said, it's all a matter of perspective. So stop thinking with the head and start feeling with the heart to reflect the creator's art and give thanks to the dark for the space to create the spark of your new story arc. For one can turn a zero into the hero of any story you wish to weave. But first you must trust yourself enough to believe that what you know in your heart, you have already achieved.
Beautiful and perfect and poignant, and encapsulates everything what we just said. So absolutely. Letting it flow. You talk about coming from the heart, and your wisdom coming, from the soul speaking to you, and you realize it's your higher self. When we allow our higher selves just to come through us, and the word allow is a big word, because so many people want to dictate how it should be, right? I want it in this color and this size and this, and I want it then, and I want these results. And it's like, oh God, I'll come back when you're ready to allow, right? And when we open up and we allow, oh my God, the magnificent things that come through us that are such teachings to ourselves and to others.
Yes, absolutely. It's beyond wonderful. And it's the same thing that I'm seeing with the manifestation movement in the New Age community. It's when you're trying to manifest, you're dictating with your mind what is that you want. But guess what? The divine is beyond any comprehension of your mind. The four lines of a box of your thoughts that have you caught up in your head. So you can go beyond that. Yes. By trusting and allowing what is something greater than you could ever imagine to manifest before your very eyes. Then you are in a state of awe.
Yeah.
And your jaw is on the floor because it's that beautiful. And you're like, and you just say thank you.
Yes, that's all there is to say. Thank you. And now with this beautiful gift you have given me, I will do. And I'm always telling people, feel the knowledge, don't think the knowledge. Because only in the feeling do we actually understand what the knowledge means. Only when it comes from the heart, you can feel your heart expanding when something resonates with you in truth. You can feel the entire vibration and the aura of you reaching out, and everything about you becomes light. And this is why people get drawn to you, because they feel that light. And they're suffering from their own darkness, and they would like you to shed light on them so they can navigate their own way through. So it is essential that we step into our light as a human race, because we're seeing so much darkness, and really a lot of light needs to be shed on it. But it is no shame or no blame. the people that are in that darkness are on that treadmill or in that hurricane, and they're swirling around, not knowing how to get out. And the more and more it goes around, the more hysterical and caught up in that fear, in that terror, and they just don't know how to get out. And somebody just needs to pull the thread so the hurricane can disperse. That journey getting out of the hurricane is a hard one, I know. You've done it, I've done it. But when you do, and even your legs are wobbly on the land because you're still spinning, at least you're free of the hurricane, and now that canvas is yours. Paint it as you wish, but come from the heart and the soul and the spirit, and that painting will be true to you and what your meaningful purpose is here to do.
Absolutely. And I feel that when you're able to reach that perspective and that experience, it allows us to step into deeper understanding for the people that are in the hurricane, because you've been there.
Yes.
You can offer, your advice, you can offer your heart to listen, to be compassionate. So even if this person that's in the hurricane is coming against you, which is probably one of the greatest initiations that we may face, because it's easy to be assistance when the hurricane is over there. And you're like, I see your hurricane and I want to help you, but when the hurricane's coming at you and you're inside of the hurricane and you must stand still in your love and in the truth, this can be quite the, perceived challenge. But even when you're in the middle of the hurricane, being able to understand, put yourself in their shoes, find compassion for understanding what are their, I like to go into karma here, their karmic hooks or mental afflictions that, the past experiences of pain and suffering that they're attached to, that they're manifesting here, and not take it personally. And instead of ask, how can I get away from this person? How can I be of service to this person? How can I help create from a place not of reaction of behavioral patterns in the past, but as consciously co-creating what is the best possible scenario for all sentient beings here and now, or all people in this moment now? What is the absolute best? So you're not thinking about what's the best for me, self-centeredness, how can I get away, protect myself? It's what is the best for all of us? And maybe the best is that you take space.
Yeah.
So you just need to listen in that moment. Maybe that is the absolute best, but don't do it from a place of only for me. Do it for a place of what is the best for all. And that allows us to dissipate those hurricanes with more grace, ease, and flow, when we can really stay in the frequency of gratitude and being grateful for the hurricane, for what it's trying to teach us, and having that lens of perspective that allows us to stay above the hurricane, so to speak.
Yeah.
To float above it. So yeah, I love that you brought us there. The eye of the storm.
We all have a storm somewhere in our lives, and the magnitude of it is only measured by us, because nobody can compare. Well, my pain is bigger than yours. There is no comparison. The pain is pain to you. The question is that pain stifling you? Is it strangling you? Is it stopping you from seeing what is possible? And you can tell when it's like that with people, because literally everything about them grips. The hands, the body, everything is tense. And we know that we need to flow. Everything needs to flow within us, around us, and for us. And it's really hard to get people to ungrip and just take that breath. And I notice in your teachings, you do breathing modalities of taking that breath, which is the oxygen the chakras need and the body needs and everything else needs, just to let go. And so many people for so long haven't let go that they don't even know what the open palm is. Being able to take that breath and God, I haven't felt this relaxed in so long. Right? I mean, so many people are in that state. And it's like, I was there once and it's like, oh my God, how did I survive that? Because I like being flippity floppity, flowing. I can't stand being the rigid type. So you do those breathings with people. How have you found it with people that are, gone from this rigid tenseness to opening up?
Yeah, it's a process. What I found is, there's three primary paths of ascension or opening, from the mental plane, which many people are familiar with, subconscious reprogramming or meditation. The
Mhm.
emotional plane, which is through the path of the heart, through karma yogi, I'm doing seva or charitable works, I'm doing devotional work. But a lot of people don't really take the physical plane of ascension, which is the path through the body. And it's not very popular these days. I think more people are awakening to it. There's a new term for it, somatic body awareness, the connection between the mind and the brain. And we alluded to it before, the body becoming numb.
Mhm.
And so when we're in the breath or we're doing any of these physical healing practices, we're going into the issues in our tissues, right?
Mhm.
And I like to explain the tension like this. You mentioned balling up fists and this, and what you're doing is you're contracting. You're physically manifesting. I need to protect my heart.
Yeah.
You're creating a cage around that. Or if your arms are the opposite direction, your heart's wide open. You're completely vulnerable and exposed. But that's the reason that you're not exposed is because you're in full trust that you are perfectly safe and sound. Now, how do we get back to that when we've been trained since 7 years old and younger that the world is a scary place? Don't put your finger there. Don't do this. Don't do that. Of course, it was by the well-meaning of our parents, but then society comes along and they have movies. These are the bad guys and these are the
Mhm.
monsters, and you got to watch out. And so it just compiles and adds on, and it becomes this very scary place in our mind if we believe that. And as we said before, the body stores all of our memories. So what happens when I've been using this example of anger
Mhm.
because everyone gets angry.
Oh yeah.
You and your partner, they're discussing a relationship matter or whatever, and they trigger you in some way, and you feel the energy and the emotion of anger coming through your channel, coming through your being. And in that moment, you have the opportunity, if you're an absolute master, to be hollow bamboo. You just allow the emotion to wash through you. You neutrally observe it with zero attachment. Now, that's probably not the majority of people, but what normally happens typically is the energy will come through. We'll receive a thought of, oh, I'm angry, and this will tense up your body. It's like when you're angry, you have to prepare for confrontation.
Mhm.
Nobody likes confrontation. There's a fear attached to that as well. And the moment you create the agreement within yourself that I am angry, that energy does not flow through your channel anymore. It does not ground out. It will get stuck inside of your body. And when it gets stuck inside your body, it manifests physically as tension. If we learn from the Chinese school of masters, we understand that there's meridians and energetic lines going all throughout our body. So you can imagine tension or a knot in your body being a dam, blocking the divine flow of prana through your body. And so what happens is the tension builds up on that meridian point in your shoulder. Energy tries to come through later, say when you're not angry anymore. Energy tries to come through, it hits that tension. Now what happens? Pain.
Mhm.
You feel the pain, right? But what is pain? Pain is just a reminder. Pain is just trying to get your attention. And what is attention but consciousness? And what is consciousness but love? So your pain is just trying to get your love.
Mhm.
But we got to take it one more step further. We got to put our intention into the tension to heal and release, right? Now, what is that pain and that tension there for? The reminder is, hey, let go of this attachment. You are holding on to the belief that you're an angry person or that you're angry in these situations. And that's not in alignment with your divine self. So let go of this and you will no longer feel pain. In fact, you'll feel bliss
Yes.
because that's your natural state. That's what you've always been since the day you were born. You were a ball of joy until you reprogrammed yourself to be something other than that. So that's through the breath and through various different healing techniques such as shaking or resistance training or um, vocal toning. uh, these are some of the physical masculine principles that I've received. And then I also have the yin, the feminine principles of surrendering into your pain rather than just going through it. Because you can also, the masculine side is very penetrative force. So we're going directly to the pain. I'm going to shake it up. I'm going to breathe it out. Breath of fire, I'm really going to move it.
Like a dragon.
Yeah, like a dragon. You can totally do that. It works. Yeah. But guess what? Every door doesn't need a battering ram.
Right.
Just need a key. You just got to turn the doorknob. Yeah. And so the feminine principle is really beautiful because it allows us to surrender and melt our pain, to just literally watch it just fall off of us. But to get to that point, we have to receive our pain as a mother would and hold it in our arms and love it and just cherish it. Thank you so much, and get so soft and so gentle. And that is, its own work in itself, to become more gentle, more soft with yourself, to yourself.
Yeah.
It's a loving yourself and accepting yourself and trusting yourself. And it's day by day, it's breath by breath, it's step by step until you are reborn as your true self and you come out as the beautiful butterfly. So yeah, that's a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would say with emotions that every emotion has a reason, because it's there to tell you something. You're reacting to something. Acknowledge it. What are you reacting to? Even spend the emotion just for a moment. Release it. You may want to cry. You may want to yell. You just maybe tense up for a moment and then release. Spend the emotion. Don't get emotional about the emotion, because it's so easy to, if you're in the anger, just to forget what you're angry about and just turn the volume up on the anger. And then that anger has got hold of you, and it's so much harder then to release it. So our emotions are there for a reason. Why am I angry? I didn't like what that person said or did. Okay, why did they say or do that? Where does it come from? Let me send them love and light, right? And I've now released my anger, because maybe where they are at that present time is lost, and they don't realize the words or the actions they're taking is coming from somebody that is a lost soul. So we can always turn it around. The whole thing is flow, like the river. Right? We are constantly need to be in flow. Nothing about us should be stagnant. We can be at rest and at peace, but even then things are flowing within and around us. But that rhythm and that flow is something that always needs to be there. And if you get stuck in any one emotion, now you've trapped that energy and that flow.
Yes, absolutely. And what you've done is you've agreed to a certain experience of reality. What you've really done is defined and confined an infinite mind to this one set of possibilities. So when you're in that restful state, when you're in the receptive state, anything is possible. Anything can be birthed. But the moment that you create the agreement and get attached to, I'm angry, well, now you've created a linear experience. Now you're going down this timeline where you're only going to experience that you're angry. You don't have the opportunity to be in joy. You don't have the opportunity to be making weird sounds, because you're angry. So
instead of shaking your sillies out, you look like something that's really threatening.
So we get to, stay receptive. And I love the fact that you're talking about emotions, that they're always indicators. It's the way that the universe is kind of communicating with us too. It's not bad to feel anger. It's not bad to feel any of these feelings, but as they come through, pay attention. What is it trying to tell you in that moment? Is it maybe I shouldn't, maybe I wasn't listening to my intuition when I went into this business deal, and I'm angry, and I should have strayed away from this situation. It's creating space or separation for some reason. Who knows? But the point of the fact is to stay receptive and stay in the listening channel, because that allows you to manifest the absolute best for yourself from the center of your chest.
And the center of that chest, that core, I can't do anything against my core. I get people, proposing all sorts of things to me the whole time. And it's like, it sounds very interesting. The mind might be intrigued. If the core doesn't agree, forget it. Because my core is my truth. It knows me well. It knows if I should or I shouldn't. If my core is with it, then I'm willing to investigate it and be wondrous of the possibilities and see where it goes in trust. But the guidance system is always within us. Our generator is always within us. The universe flows through us all the time. We are never alone. But if we shut off the heart, if we close off the heart, the wisdom can't speak through us. It can't speak to us. And if we're only in our head all the time, then we're completely lost, because all we are is data, constantly regurgitating itself. So it is essential that we open up our hearts, however broken they've been, however cracked they may feel. It is important that our hearts open up, because that is where the wisdom will come through. How do you deal with a heart that is so shut down, and how do you open it up again?
That is a really deep question, because I am going through that right now.
Oh,
In holding space for helping, you know, I think the question is there's a double-edged sword here, because one, we don't want to fall into the savior complex that we have to help anyone or anything, awaken their heart. And that's a lack of, for me, in my experience, is a lack of trust of this other person being able to step into their fullness of their own free will and accord, which is probably what they're calling in, that to increase their willpower. And so holding space, there's a couple things that you can do. One, let's say the person is so lost that they've created separation from you, and they will listen to nothing that you say. But you love them and you want the absolute best for them. This is the situation I'm in, right? So there is a Buddhist practice called giving and taking. You can, in meditation, take on all of their pain and suffering, all of their problems, all of their doubt, fear, anxiety, anger. Take it into the center of your heart. And as a thin black smoke, just imagine it coming out of their energetic being. And when you take it into your heart, you transmute it and alchemize it into pure love for this person. And we do something in the mental plane called polarity flipping. So now you flip the script from anger and pain, and you imagine this person in their divine light. If they weren't angry, what would they be like? If they weren't in pain, what would they be like? Oh, well, this person would be singing mantras. They would be, in the park with me, and we'd be taking nature walks just as friends, right? And all these things are possible, right? As long as you seed them first, as long as you can see them and you feel them, and then you radiate it from the center of your heart out. Now, this is on the energetic level, right? So of what you can do from yourself if you're in a silo and the other person was unwilling to work with you or meet you halfway. And then, of course, you have to back it up with your own actions. And the actions could be, if somebody else is in a story where they need to be right, and if they're wrong, it's like their entire ego will implode. If they're in a story like that, then maybe your action is allowing them to be right. It's observe, allow, and enjoy. How can you stay in that frequency of just watching, allowing the other person to do as they need to, because their soul is teaching them what's working and what's not working, and their process might be a roller coaster ride. But you can just observe it without judgment. You can allow it to be, as long as it's not causing you any bodily harm or affecting your life in a negative way. And then you can enjoy it. So the enjoy is transmuting the lower frequency into the frequency of joy. So how can I find the lesson? Where's the silver lining? Where's the blessing here? How can I be thankful for this person who is actually a great teacher in my life, teaching me more patience, more compassion, more, willing, more humbleness and humility. in this moment. So all the other technique is that how can you find the silver lining? What are three things that are positive about this person? What are three things that are positive about this scenario? What do you that you're learning, and bringing awareness to that, so that way it will keep the mind from wanting to go back into separation and, oh, judgment, and this person's bad because they did this, oh, they're not listening to me, oh, they're just stuck in their story. That doesn't help them, and that doesn't help you. That just keeps you in a hierarchical state where you feel better about yourself, and the other person's
It was
suffering.
even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps you, it actually keeps you trapped.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you humble yourself, even if you're not being affected in a negative way. You humble yourself um, to feel the suffering and pain, because you also co-created this. So take responsibility for your thoughts, words, and actions. That this is your reflection coming up in your field of awareness. So a
It's
lot
very
of people.
hard. It's hard to do that with a loved one. And I have 3 kids, and my grey hairs have got their name on it. So they've. I've served my time, and the couple of them. One of them in particular made some decisions that I couldn't, from my very core, support, and I would say I don't like your choices. I don't like where you're going. It's your journey. I can't be a part of it. But no, I'm here when you're ready to come back. And I love you. I don't like your choices, don't like where you're going or what you're doing, but that's your journey. But I love you. And it actually came to a point where he was at a crossroads in life and realized that if he continued down that particular road, he would probably end up dead. And he remembered my love for him. I can't do this to my mother because she loves me too much. And he managed to change directions. So sometimes all we can be is that silent person of love, and keep shining that light upon them, that love upon them, even if we're not in the same vicinity. Vibrationally, they will feel it, and just keep, waiting for them to come back. I love you. I'm here when you want me. I'm here when you need me. I am here for you. Right? But for my own psyche, my own heart and soul, I couldn't stay in that hurricane, because both of us would have been destroyed. So somebody had to come out. And eventually his life lesson was to go through that and then come out and understand more meaningful, more gratitude, and more purpose of where he needed to go. So however painful it is sometimes to watch your loved ones go through something, it is their life lesson. And we can just say to them, I love you, I'm here for you when you're ready, but it's still their free will.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And this always goes back to me for the parable of the prodigal son, coming back in his own time, allowing him to go. I feel called to share another poem. Is that all right?
Please.
So this poem is number 118 on the path of 144 poems, and it's called The Greatest Love, and it is a reflection of you. The greatest love is neither to your left nor to your right, above nor below. It is in the soft whisper of your heart saying, hi, hello, in the center of your center, in your heart of hearts, is the start to understand the difference between the divine and man. For who is he that can go through the trials and tribulations of this thing we call life with an open heart and still bear fruit that is ripe, the type that reminds you of the sweetness of life? The type that reminds you of your mother's embrace, the smile on your father's face, a brother that helps another, and a sister that is a cure to a weeping willow. The greatest love is as soft as goose down pillows and as strong as an ox. The greatest love knows no bounds, nor what ticks and what talks, no matter what they say, nor what they do. The greatest love will always stay true, true to the light that is within all beings. Seen through the veil, it sails on the wings of compassion, to forgive all for their misguided thoughts, words, and actions, to allow those that have forsaken to come back in their own time. For the greatest love is truly sublime and can melt even the hardest of hearts that attempt to break apart the dream, tearing it from its seams. The greatest love does not waver, for it is not bound to the earth, awaiting patiently for its child's rebirth. For in this love, none can harm you, and in this love, none can deceive you. For the greatest love sees through the masks and asks, how can I be of service to the one that is wailing in pain, without ever seeking, without ever seeking anything to gain? For the greatest love is free, free for the giving, free for the living, and shines as the sun upon all beings. So hold fast to what is true, for the greatest love of them all is you.
So very, very, very true. We are love. We are love for ourselves. We are love for life. We are love for each other. We are love for everything around us. And when we step into that beautiful higher frequency of love, we can't knowingly do any harm to anyone else, because in that state of love, we are resonance of good vibrations. And that love is so healing. And it can be so corny, because simply love is the answer. It's what makes the world go around. It's what gives us joy and meaningful purpose, and it's what gives us the gratitude and a positive attitude. So, it is simply love. Yes, so many people are so afraid to go into that love because they're looking for the external love, not the internal love. And when you become the internal love, you resonate on a different vibration, on a different light, and that inspiration begets invitation. And more people want to be around that light and seek that light within themselves. So sometimes all we can be is that beacon of light, of beacon of love, and let it resonate in other people and ignite the heart and soul within them.
Absolutely. It's like I relate it to, a candle lighting all these unlit candles. They're just waiting to be lit. They're just waiting for that spark, that divine inspiration. This poetry that you're hearing and all the poems I received over 5 years was because there was a spark. I was at a fire gathering around a fire in Costa Rica, and this one brother, David Weber, amazing poet, he invited us all to share a song or poems. And when I heard him share his poetry, the words, the rhythm, the tonation, the passion behind the delivery, it sparked something inside of me, and I said, "You can do that too."
Yes. He
You can.
ignited you.
It ignited me. It ignited
Yes.
my heart, my
Yes.
soul, my spirit, and really put me on this complete trajectory of, now I have this poetry book, and I have all these poems that I'm continually receiving, and it's allowing put yourself into positions where, if you're not already rekindled, put yourself where there is kindling. Find people, places, or things that you feel in your heart that are expansive to you, that you feel safe, you feel in your joy, you feel expressive. Those are the moments that you're giving an opportunity for that flame to be re-sparked and relit. And from there, all you have to do is let go of the hands on the wheel.
Yes. Yes. Let Tesla drive you.
It will take you.
Yeah. Well, I think this is actually one of the hard things as a lesson in our process of our growth is letting go of the wheel, is trusting, is letting that divine. And as I said, when the heart is open, ready to receive, that soul wisdom just comes pouring through. And everything you need to know is in there. And if we could take the ego out of it, no, it's my knowledge. No, it is. It's like I look at Tesla actually as an example. Here is a person that opened up his channel so wide, and he was given such incredible knowledge that was far beyond us, that we're really only tapping into now, over 100 years later. But he had the intellect to understand what to do with it. But he openly allowed it to come through him. And that's the thing, if we can take the ego out of us, and we don't need to own everything, right? Because we've allowed it to come through us. It's a part of us. It's like when you birth a child. I don't own my children. I'm a custodian of them. They're a part of me. I'm a part of them. But I don't own them. If we could look at the wisdom in the same way and allow it to come through us without the ego getting in the way, just imagine what beautiful truths would come from people.
Absolutely. I just received a poem about that yesterday too. But it's pretty high level. I'm not feeling called to share that one, actually. Um, but what you're speaking to is essentially not mine but thine. You know, it's not I or you, it's we.
Yeah.
It's the stepping into oneness
Yeah.
and experiencing and embodying oneness and seeing everyone and everything as yourself and going all the way back into nothingness, knowing that you had nothing to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you take ownership over anything that is come before your eyes? It's actually all a divine gift.
Yeah.
So we can only have gratitude for gifting these experiences to ourselves so that we can remember to dance, our beautiful dance. And it's really the greatest love story I've ever seen, heard, ever. It's just a eternal romance.
It is, because you can't help but see all the possibilities in life, right? And the thing is, as that instrument in the orchestra, we are responsible for our instrument. We are responsible for how we take this information and what we do with it. We do need to take onus of it. But because we're a part of it, we're in a synergy with it. So, it's the same for people that it comes through them, but they never share it. Right. So, and then how we share it, are we honoring the message? Are we speaking the message truly? Right? Or has ego stepped in and taken over? So we're still, as an individual, in this oneness, we have to understand that we're part of that going. We're part of the cellular structure. Now, how many cellular structures are in a body? Right? And so, one cellular starts breaking down, it contaminates another and another. And this is where you get the disease. When one cellular structure amongst all cellular structures are in harmony with each other, now you have abundance. So it's to remember, amongst this universe, we're a very important cell. And what we do with this divine information, whom we share it with, how we approach people, is the reason why we're here. We're here to bring humanity up to a higher vibration, because the universe says we're behind. We've got to catch up. It's like, come on, folks, you've been here for centuries. It's time to evolve.
Absolutely. And always getting those beautiful reminders. So I'd love to continue chatting forevermore. Yes. It's been such a wonderful chat. I do have to move into the next scene of the dream.
Right. But how do people get hold of your book? How do they get hold of you? And what kind of programs do you offer people?
Absolutely. So the book is The Flowing River, 144 Poems of Awakening, from the ego all the way to unconditional love. You can check that out on Amazon if you search for The Flowing River.
And it's under your name, Flowing River, too? Or which name would it be under?
Yeah, it's under Flowing River. And my website, also very easy to remember, flowingriver.co. That's .co. And it has all my creative projects and offerings there as well. But if you do want to step into learning the tools and techniques to clear your channel and really step into self-mastery, to surrender, to have these gifts be birthed through you, and doing physical practice resonates with you, well, I've got the perfect thing. It's howtoraiseyourvibration.com. It's the 4 yang and 4 yin techniques that I spoke of earlier. They're really powerful practices to release trauma in the body so that you can just be more yourself, your true self. So I invite you all into that container as well. And that's it.
Get in with the flow, folks. Ignite your heart and soul. It's a beautiful place to be. It's extremely harmonious. It doesn't mean we don't, we're not in la la land. We're not all kumbaya, but we understand the beauty of the loving peace that is there within us and around us. And we seek it out and we embrace it and we share it with everyone else. And it hopefully ignites that heart and soul in others as well, right?
Yes, yes. Go for it.
Go for it. These waters are wonderful. Come on in.
It's warm. It's like one giant jacuzzi.
Yeah. The waves washing over you, washing everything away. You're just floating on the water. Heavenly. Yes. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure and honor. Thank you, Sarah, for having me.
Until next time, folks, remember you also can flow down the river if you just let yourself go, unclasp those hands, and just step up and embrace. He has a wonderful program for you. And you must certainly need to get the book, because the book in itself with the poetry will ignite things inside of you that are ready to be turned on. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com, and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.